Hey everybody, how's it going? It's the Daily Shooter, and today we're going to talk about Cory Booker's bullet points, or his agenda for gun control. Now, they're all outrageous, they're all completely unconstitutional, but here's the part where we should be worried, okay? Each one of these Democratic presidential candidates right now, before the nomination, has tried to outdo the other one. It's really like watching a bunch of children fight. They each try to get louder, they each try to get more outrageous, more aggressive, and, you know, as they go about this field, it's like, I hate guns. Well, I hate guns more. Well, I hate guns infinity. It's that type of maturity level that I'm watching from these presidential candidates. So if Cory Booker comes out with something like this, in order to beat this, that means that the front runners like Joe Biden or Elizabeth Warren are going to have to come out with something that's even more aggressive, or it's just going to look petty compared to Cory Booker's plan. So we're going to talk about Cory Booker's plan today, and we're also going to compare it to other amendments. So let's talk about Cory Booker's plan, but also think about it in terms of the First Amendment and whether or not it would hold up. Now, I am going to cheat a little bit here, and I'm going to read his bullet points directly from my phone so that I can give you guys accurate information, because some of these bullet points are a little bit extensive and overreaching, unconstitutional. You guys will get it. Second Amendment supporters, as I read this, you'll find about 100 flaws within each one of these bullet points. But the first one is certification that the individual completed firearm safety training, which must include a written test and hands-on training to ensure safe use and accuracy. So Cory Booker wants you to get training, not just any training. He wants you to do a written test and then do actual physical training for accuracy and safe use. So here's the problem. If you fail the written test, does that mean you're denied your Second Amendment right? So now our Second Amendment rights can be taken away from us just because of a failure of a test, or you're going to have time to redo the test? Who's going to pay for it? I guess I'm going to have to pay for it, right? So if I want to go out there and do this training, maybe I have to pay for the written test. Maybe the person who does the written test isn't the same person that does the actual physical training, so now I'm going to have to pay him. How long am I going to have to wait for these things? This is absolutely ridiculous. If you look at it as a parallel to the First Amendment, could you imagine telling people that before you actually practice your First Amendment right of free speech, your freedom to assemble, and so forth, you have to pass a test. We have to make sure that you're not going to say anything that would be considered dangerous, or that you know what the dangerous words are before we actually allow you to have your freedom of speech. Could you imagine if we ran that parallel there? It would be absolutely ridiculous. So that's Cory Booker's first bullet point. Let's go ahead and move on to the second bullet point. Completion of a criminal history background check. So everybody has to do a background check. Now, you know what he means here is it's not just going to be a background check for, you know, going into the gun shop. It's going to be a background check if you want to loan your brother a firearm to go hunting. Maybe I have a nice shotgun, Benelli, 12 gauge. He wants to go duck hunting, and I want to go, here you go ahead and have some fun. Well, hang on a second. You're going to have to go through a criminal background check, and it's probably going to be every single time. Somehow they think these criminal background checks do anything, but the past has shown us, just go ahead and look at history of these recent tragedies that they keep bringing up, that they say that this stuff would stop. These people pass background checks. They either passed background checks or they went around them completely. Imagine now, again, running a parallel again with the First Amendment. Do you think that this would hold water if you were to say, we're going to have to do a background check before you're allowed your freedom of speech? No way. Now, stay tuned for the last bullet point, because that one, if you're already pissed off, that'll be the one that'll throw you over the edge. There are a total of 4 bullet points. Let's go ahead and continue on by talking about the third, which is submission of information on the firearm the person intends to obtain, including the make, model, serial number, and the identity of the firearm seller or transfer. Registration. National registration, right? They want to know who's selling it, who you are, who you're giving it to, the make and model, the serial number. They want to have some type of national registry to see exactly where all of this stuff is going, as if it's any of their business. But they want to know who's got this, who's got that, and let's face it, that is the first step to confiscation, because once they know that person A doesn't have it, but person B does, it makes it a lot easier for them to just go and try and take it from person B, until person B says, you know what, you're not going to come take it anymore, and then we have a whole nother problem on our hands, right? So that is basically national registration. Again, step number 1 for the overall goal, which is confiscation. Now this last one is the one that's going to get you, okay? The last bullet point, number 4, is submission of fingerprints and proof of identity. Now, try and keep in mind, this is all coming from the same guy that said that it is racist if you were to ask for ID to vote. it is racist to require somebody to have ID to vote because somebody might be maybe from a lower class or somebody might be unable to provide this, and technically there's this and that, so it's racist to ask for any form of ID if somebody is going to be voting. But for a Second Amendment right, an enumerated right in our Bill of Rights, it's perfectly fine to ask for fingerprints, which, by the way, I used to have my CDL. I had a CDL, a commercial driver's license, for about 12 years. I drove big tanker trucks, and that costs money. Getting fingerprinted costs money, and it takes time, and you usually got to drive to a fingerprint place that's usually pretty far away, and so that takes time, it takes money, and then they want your ID. So again, to vote, it's racist. You don't want to ask for IDs. But to practice the Second Amendment right, IDs and fingerprints are going to be just fine. So if you go ahead and you take a look at all of these bullet points together as one, we have training, we have written tests, we have accuracy tests and competency tests, we have background checks, national registration, and submission of fingerprints and proof of identity. So here's the problem, okay? People are going to say there's no way Cory Booker is going to become the Democrat nomination. And you know what? As of right now, I would say that too. It's probably going to be Elizabeth Warren. That's the way that I'm seeing things pan out. But try and keep in mind, they're all trying to win the Democratic nomination right now. And so with all their lackeys following them, they're all trying to outdo each other. So if Elizabeth Warren wants to win, she's going to have to say Cory Booker's plan doesn't go far enough. We're going to go ahead and we're going to add this on too. We're going to go ahead and ban this, ban this, ban this, ban parts, ban whatever we can on top of this, rage ages. I mean, you could see where this is going, right? It's a bunch of children fighting over this stuff, and so they're trying to outdo each other in order to get that nomination. And so, who knows? I mean, tides change, things change, people fall out of the race, health issues happen, and we don't know who's going to be the nominee yet, but we got to watch out because it's still early and they're still trying to outdo each other when it comes to the Second Amendment. So just pay attention to this stuff. Make sure you educate people and you let people know, especially if they're in your family or somebody who's close to you and you have a good relationship with them. Give them that parallel to the First Amendment. Let them know, hey, this is fine, but would you do this for all of the other amendments? What if something was to come up and, let them know the parallel exists, and it kind of helps open people's eyes. So I want to thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. Have a great day.